go for it. Stop wishing and start doing.
Everybody, I'm looking forward today. I'm bringing you Reden, and what a badass name. Who names their kid Reden? I just love that name, but he also goes by the nickname of Dino, so this should be fun. So he's an active duty Navy corpsman. We call those docs from where I come from. He's been serving for nearly 15 years, multiple deployments with the Marines in Iraq and Afghanistan. That's why the corpsmen always go get the pass from us jarheads. He's the founder and owner of Fortis Et Fidelis Apparel, leader of Defender Fitness Alliance, a Facebook group of veterans who are in the fitness business. So this should be fun today, Reden, man. I love the name. I love the fitness stuff. But I always tell everybody, screw the bio, screw what's written down on paper, man. Just tell me the real story. Tell me the journey. Tell me how you got here and what the hell you're doing.
Well, first off, Donnie, thank you for having me on your podcast. So yeah, that you went over pretty much my military background. Just want to tell you a little bit more on my personal background.
Sure.
So I was born in the Philippines. I was there until about 6 or 7 until my parents decided to move to the United States. This was 1990, late 1990. Came here with my parents. Pretty much, I learned a lot from my parents growing up. I learned a lot of valuable things from them. And one being is just the work ethic that they put in. Just some of the stuff that they went through in the Philippines and, you know, the first years that they were here. I know we moved around a lot and it was kind of difficult for them with the adjustment.
So your parents, you moved to the Philippines. You're 6 years old, right?
Yeah, about 6 or 7. Yeah.
Okay, so right in there. What was the happening in their world that they decided they need to get their butts to the U.S.? Because usually the immigrants moving here, there's always some story behind that. What was the lifestyle for them like before they moved here?
Before we moved here, my parents, they pretty much grew up in the same area in the Philippines, so they knew each other growing up. They had the same friends. We kind of joke about it because back where I'm from in the Philippines, everybody knows each other. It seems like we're all pretty much all cousins in the same area.
Makes for one hell of a barbecue, though.
Yeah, I mean, we always had get-togethers. You know, we weren't the richest people in the world or anything by that. But far from that, growing up, we were pretty poor. I remember, you know, some days it was just hard to put food on the table. But I know my mom, she worked her butt off in school and pretty much relied on, because growing up, she grew up without a father. She lost her dad when she was young. And it was basically up to my grandmother. She relied on her dad at the time to kind of push her through school. And my mom was pretty much just she was focused. I think I get a lot of my dedication from my mom. She was just focused on her school and becoming, she wanted to become a nurse. So she went to school for that. It was a lot of pressure for her just because, you know, the family relied on her, and she did it. She went through all that. She actually, when my parents got married, she did a lot of overseas work. She was sent to Saudi Arabia. She worked there as a nurse for a couple of years every now and then. And she was actually pregnant at the time with my brother, my sibling, my younger brother. She went back home to the Philippines to give birth to my brother because they told her that if he was born in Saudi Arabia, he would be accounted as like a Muslim. And my parents are Christian.
Oh, interesting.
So if I don't know if it's true or not, but that's the story that I got. So she went back home to the Philippines, gave birth, and pretty much she went back to work in Saudi Arabia. And it was just my dad and my grandmother that pretty much raised us while we were in the Philippines.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you moved to the U.S. when you're 6, 7 years old and went through, I'm assuming, traditional school patterns, school life, the whole 9 yards. I'm sure you caught some hell being an immigrant, going through some of that school pattern. That's just the status of how that happens because we're assholes. And what made you decide to make the plunge going into, well, from my perspective, why the hell did you want to go to the Navy? But why go into military at all?
Well, initially, when I was thinking about the military, I graduated high school and I went to junior college, community college afterwards. I did a semester and honestly, I was not ready for college. And the fact that I saw the same people in college, that were in high school with me, and I was just not prepared mentally for it. I wasn't taking it seriously. And when it comes down to it, I didn't want to have my parents waste their money putting me through college if I wasn't that serious about it. So I was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to continue on. So I thought about just joining the military. And I picked the Navy because I told the recruiter, I want to do something medical. At that time, I wanted to be a nurse like my mom. So he mentioned the corpsman, there's this medical field. You can be a corpsman.
Well, I'm just glad you didn't say you were going to the Navy because of the uniform, because they are cute crackerjack outfits. I mean,
yeah, dude, I had no idea like going in. I just wanted to do something medical. And yeah, man, that's how that happened.
So the recruiter suckers you into going into the corpsman field, and you sign up to go to the Navy, and then you spend 15 years with the Marines. Because you got attached to a Marine unit, I'm assuming.
Yeah. So how it goes? So we went boot camp. Obviously, everybody knows boot camp in Great Lakes. And then after that, the corpsman school was actually just right across the street from boot camp. So I stayed in Great Lakes for another 3 months going through corpsman school. I went in August of 2003, and I mean, you guys can imagine what was going on during that time. So
let me say this because I want to put this in perspective for people. Is I was in the Marine Corps from 95 to 99 during the Clinton era. Wasn't a whole lot of going on in military actions during that time. Kosovo and Bosnia were kicking up a little bit, but you go in 2003, so this is after 9/11, right? Military action going along the way. So even though you're going to the medical field, there had to be that thought process. You knew that you were going to hit the sandbox, if not soon, almost immediately after getting through school and everything else. Did you have any of that thought in your head?
Yeah. So when we were going through corpsman school, we had a lot of instructors that were former Greenside. They were Greenside corpsmen. They've been with the Marines, but they were with the Marines before the whole, Iraq and Afghanistan happened. So all they talked about was the good times when they went to South America or when they went to Europe
right.
and did this and that. But yeah, I got to know what that was all about, being with the Marines while I was there. And like I said, pretty much at this time, after I finished corpsman school, there was nothing available but just Greenside. So
and just I got a lot of civilians that listen to this. What is Greenside?
After corpsman school, mostly everybody went through what's called FM. It's called FMTB now, which is a Field Medical Training Battalion. Back then, it was called Field Medical Service School, which basically is a school for corpsmen. At that time, lasted about 8 weeks. They pretty much trained you to be a Marine or how to be with the Marines. So you did the humps.
So they taught you how to cuss and drink and fight.
Well, yeah, that was included with the training.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was pretty much training us in a field environment, combat scenarios, patrolling, weapons handling. We did a lot of humps, which hikes, and this was in Pendleton, so it was a lot of hills that we did.
Oh yeah, Pendleton sucks. So if you guys don't know, I mean, there's no way to go downhill anywhere in Pendleton. You're constantly going up the next damn hill. Did you ever get the experience of Mount Motherfucker?
I mean, I don't remember the names, but there was a lot of hills, and they were all motherfuckers. So
they're a bitch. I mean, to put it in perspective, you're carrying like an 80-pound pack and on your back, and you're literally leaned over so much that your nose is like it can almost touch the hill, trying to get up this damn thing in full gear. So
I went through Field FMSS for 8 weeks, and by this time I knew I was going with the Marines. Before I left the corpsman school, we had gotten orders already. I was going with 1st Marine Division. I was going with 7th Marines in 29 Palms. So actually, the day I graduated Field Medical FMSS, there's 2 guys that were with the unit that came to pick me up to take me to 29 Palms that day.
So you went from one shithole to another.
Yeah.
Because civilians don't know shit about 29 Palms, but we call it 29 Stumps because don't let it fool you. That place is an absolute shithole. That's the only way you can describe it.
Yeah. So, for those of you guys, everybody knows where San Diego is, and the weather in San Diego is awesome. So I went from San Diego, and we're driving down the 10. And as soon as you go further and further down, it's like, oh shoot, there's like no houses, no buildings. It becomes just desert. It's just desert going into 29 Palms, and that's all it is. It's the stumps.
Yep.
It's the stomping grounds. So I checked in. Actually slept at my LPO, my leading petty officer who was in charge of the enlisted at that time, and then checked in the next day with these other guys. And yeah, man. So we were there. We did some training. I was actually there for only 3 months, and I got shipped out. We got shipped out to our first deployment to Iraq after that.
Nice. Okay. How many tours did you do altogether?
At that time, or like altogether?
All together now. And you're 15. How many have you done?
So I've done 5. I did 3 to Iraq, 1 to Afghanistan, and 1 ship.
Damn. Good on you, brother. That's a beating. While you're going through all this, you decide to put together this fitness thing. Walk us through that. So
with the, you're talking about the Defender Fitness Alliance?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was, I don't know if you're in the group, but there's the Vetpreneur Tribe group.
Yep.
I was a part of. And
let me help people out with that. So there's a guy named Andrew O'Brien that is an entrepreneur of entrepreneurs. And the dude put together this Facebook group for veterans called the Vetpreneur Tribe. As the time of this recording, he's got about 13,500 members in there yet. And they're all veterans that are dabbling with entrepreneurism, growing multi-million-dollar businesses, all walks of life. He's done really well about bringing the veteran entrepreneur community together. So if you're a veteran and you're looking to get connected with other entrepreneurs in the veteran space, great place to check out.
I was part of it back in August 2017. And I took one of his course. I think it was like the passive income course. And one of the things that he talked about a lot during that course was, you got to have your own tribe. You got to build your own group and stuff. So that's pretty much where the group came about.
Nice. And so what all are you doing with it? Is it just a bunch of fitness junkies, or as I'd call them, meatheads that are working out and flexing their muscles and all that? What's the point of the group? What do you guys do with it?
Yeah, so I started the group, I want to say like mid-January. Right now we got just under 400 or so. So it's growing pretty steadily and the engagement's pretty good. My main mission with the group is basically I want to help out the veterans in the fitness business, the personal trainers, the gym owners. I want to help them with their personal training or their gym ownership business, try and take that to the next level. And if it's also for those who are looking for some motivation, maybe some support with their workout programs, it's another avenue for them to, seek guidance from experts who've been in the fitness industry for many years. So that's my main mission with the group.
Nice. So is it for civilians and veterans?
It's for veterans, but actually it's called the Defenders Fitness Alliance.
Okay.
And I pretty much brought it to the group actually about a week ago. I wanted to also include the law enforcement officers and the first responders because, you can't really call it Defenders Fitness Alliance without them, because as we're defending our nation abroad, they're defending it here stateside.
And then there's a Coast Guard. So,
well, yeah. I guess if you want to, yeah.
I love.
No offense to those coasties out there.
No, but you got to give them shit. I love talking to the Coast Guard guys. They're like, "Look, y'all are doing all the crazy shit over in the sandbox. We're chasing down drug lords and all that kind of stuff. So y'all go play over there. We'll keep it safe on the stateside side of things." So, and you also have, what's the name of the apparel company? I don't want to screw up the name.
It's called Fortis Et Fidelis, so it's Latin for strong and faithful. We in the Navy, we have, it's not an official motto, but we have a Semper Fortis, which is always courageous. And then obviously with the Marine Corps, it's Semper Fidelis.
Right.
So I kind of combined the two because I spent most of my career with the Marines. Honestly, that time was the worst and the best times of my life. And yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. The Marines are an acquired taste, but if you can hang with them, we're a good bunch of guys. But the situation you get thrown into to have to hang out with them is rough.
They're definitely a different breed, as they say. So.
Well, as I tell everybody, most of the jarheads in the world weren't your cream of the crops in high school and everything else. They're usually the guys that had no idea what the hell to do with their life, can barely spell their name. And, you throw all of us from all walks of life in one room and shake it up and just see what turns out. So love my Jarhead brothers. So now you have this Facebook group, you have this clothing line, you're working your way on being an entrepreneur. Badass and good on you, because a lot of people start that side hustle, that other business while they're currently doing something. You just happen to be doing it while still active duty in the military. So good on you. What are some of the struggles you're running up against as you're figuring this all out? I mean, you got to separate military time from your business time and everything else. What are some of those things that have surprised you so far on this journey of trying to build a business?
Well, I mean, like you said, me being still active duty, that's priority right there. Is with me being still in the service, I still have to serve and do my time. And then
you know what? I love it when they say that, do my time. It's like prison. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the priority, like, I mean, at any time I can get called upon, and who knows what'll happen next couple of years while I'm still here. But yeah, man, just trying to find that balance with work, with family, and then business. I mentioned earlier, my wife and I, we're actually expecting our first kid in July. So I guess the most difficult thing is, finding that balance and, just trying to stay humble. I tell myself, this kind of like my saying is, if there's anything that I learned, is that I don't know anything. Like I tell myself that, there's always a lot of things that you can take from other people. So just be open to that, open to other people's opinions, and especially seek out those who have been in the business longer than you have, and seek out their advice and their inputs.
Yeah, dude, I can tell you that's been like one of my greatest learnings is when I got out of the Marine Corps, I was 22 years old. And, through my career, I mean, I jumped into sales from there and have spent my entire journey in some sort of sales aspect. And one of the things that I learned very quickly is there's other people that have already carved the trail and are successful in that endeavor. And right. I very smartly early on started asking other people who were successful in sales how the hell they did it, how they got there. And then I always raced to get as big as they are, and then pass them, and then I would create my own processes. But right. I would follow their methodology all the way up there. So good on you that you've learned that in the short time you've been running your business all the way through that. What's your biggest screw up? We all got those screw ups. What's one of those things that you screwed up that you look back on and you're like, well, that taught me something?
When I was first starting out my clothing line, this was like mid 2016. It was actually called something else. And I thought I had checked the trademark on that name. And come to find out that name had already been taken. I actually called the guys that had the name, and told them the situation and what I'm all about and how I'm different from them. I mean, they use it as like, it's not the title of their company or whatever. They kind of use it as a slogan. So I try to work something out, but basically got shot down.
They told you to kiss your ass and have fun with it.
Yeah, politely told me, no, you can't use that. So I say that was probably one of the...
So word to the wise for anybody, if you're looking to start a business, do your homework when you come up with a name, because you don't want to get so far down the path that right. You have to almost start over. How much money had you spent on that name and everything else prior to then, to finding out somebody else had it?
Well, I was kind of fortunate to where I was still new to the business. I was probably like less than 6 months into it. So I was able to recover. I'd say it was a good learning lesson.
Yeah, yeah. Sure. And it doesn't sound like too expensive. I mean, it was only 6 months, so that's nice. Now, you've got this Facebook group where you're bringing in all these fitness fanatics and people that are running gyms and everything else. Is it a community of where you guys are sharing workout tips? Are you sharing business tips? What kind of things are you guys sharing and talking about in that group?
It's a combination of the fitness and the business. One of my main goal with the group is I didn't want it to be like any other like fitness groups, where all we do is just share photos of, each other. It's like, yeah, look at me working out. Look at me bench pressing 500 pounds. Well, yeah, that's cool, buddy. But what are you doing to help other people?
Well, dude, I can see you. I mean, you're a typical Filipino. You're not a big like Samoan.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. So I'm probably like at the most a $160 I've ever weighed. So I'm not a big dude, but the main thing with the group is just basically trying to help them with whatever business needs they need. And my main focus right now is just trying to get those people in the group to help them out with that.
Nice. What kind of things are you doing to increase engagement in group? Because I know a lot of my listeners have Facebook groups. They're trying to grow it. 400 members, It's a good sized group. It's a solid group. What kind of things are you doing to improve engagement and things in there?
I just try to be there as often as I can, man. Starting a group is not as easy as some people think it is. And to make it a business, you have to stay engaged. You can't just like create a group and like just disappear and let the group members figure it out. You got to find, with me, you got to find what's their pain points. You got to find what you can help them out with as far as, whether that be with their fitness or their business. And then, you just got to ask questions, go live. One of the things that I'm doing now is I'm actually doing a weekly Facebook interviews with my group members. I bring them in, talk about their service and what their passion, their business, what they're doing now after the service. So it's kind of like a promotion to help promote their business and also bring awareness to what they're doing right now.
Oh, that's huge. Now, when you do these interviews, similar to like I do with my podcast, is there a standard format of questions you're asking it, or is it more like this where it's free flowing and you're getting to know them?
What I do right now is I do standard questions, but then, I toss in questions here and there depending on how the interview goes. And then at the end, I actually have what I call the 5 fitness facts. I pretty much talk about asking these 5 questions. Their favorite workout is, what's their least favorite workout? What type of book would they recommend for our viewers to read? If they had to choose, who would they want to train with and why? And at the end, I also asked all of them this one thing is, what can I do to help you?
Great question. And, I think if everybody who's listening would to do this kind of thing with their business, I mean, think about the impact if you go to your clients and your customers and you interview them, whether you do it on your Facebook page, your group, or you're just doing it to get to know them. And that last question you ask them is, what can I do to serve you more? Or what can I do to help you? The tremendous impact that will have on not only your relationship with that client, but it will likely help you discover some areas that you can grow that business and grow that account by finding things that you didn't know. So I love that process, that you're building there. So where do you think this is all leading for you? You got 5 years roughly left in the military to hit your retirement. So I know there's probably that little bit of frustration in your back of your head. You're like, dude, if I could just go full time on this damn thing, I get it. But, like we talked about before this, do your 20, get that retirement because, that's huge for setting your family up for the rest of their lives as well. But where's all this leading to? Where's it taking you? Where are you going? What's the future of all this?
Yeah, I mean, you said it right there, talking about the rough times. There's times where I've thought about like, man, 15 years, but it's like 5 years still seems like a long way. but yeah, it's for ultimately for my family. But as far as like the group, my big picture is I want this to be the biggest online resource for all the veterans, for all law enforcement officers and first responders. The biggest online resource in fitness, whether that be with just their training, workouts, or just helping them out as personal trainers or gym owners. And eventually, I want to get an annual summit or conference out of this. And one of the things I'm working on right now is developing a mastermind group within my members.
And what's the goal of the mastermind group?
It's pretty much talking and helping them out with whatever concerns they have, whether that be with their marketing, social media, websites, SEOs, anything like that.
Nice, dude. Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. So on this journey of yours, you've had some crazy rides from growing up as a kid, moving here from a foreign country to joining the military, doing tours. It's been an awesome journey. Now the journey continues with becoming an entrepreneur and everything else. If you were to leave our audience with kind of a phrase or a thought or something they could take with them for the rest of their journey that they're on, what would be something you'd tell them that they could take and learn from and use for the rest of their lives?
So if there's one phrase or one thing that your audience can take away from, in the beginning, we all dream, right? As kids, we all dream about doing something or becoming someone, right? And then as we get older, that dream kind of dwindles, like it kind of dies, right? As entrepreneurs, I think we're all dreamers. We all dream pretty big. We all dream what seems to be to most people impossible. But I think my message to your audience is like, just try to keep that dream alive, man. If it's something that can benefit the world, benefit the people, just go for it. Stop wishing and start doing. That's
I freaking love that, dude. I love that. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And it's a powerful message. So, dude, I got to tell you, man, seriously, thank you for being on the show. It means a lot. Is with all my guys. Thank you for defending the country and raising your hand and getting in the game for us. Thanks for your message and helping out the other entrepreneurs out there, especially the other veterans that are trying to create the businesses while still in, the ones that are out and creating their businesses, and just good on you, dude. So thanks so much for being on the show today.
Hey, Donnie, I appreciate it. It was a great time, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks so much for listening to this episode. I hope you were impressed by it as much as I was. Man, keep kicking ass in life. Please do me a favor. Comment, share, tell your friends about this. Every share just brightens my day. I appreciate it.